Have you ever felt it? Not fear, not paranoia, but that cold, heavy awareness that you are not truly alone. The sense that something is standing in the corner of your room, just outside the reach of the light, watching you breathe. I used to think it was stress, maybe exhaustion, but everything changed the night the darkness in my room began to take shape. I lived in a small, rented room at the end of a narrow alley on the outskirts of the city. Nothing special about it, just four walls, a bed, a desk, and the kind of silence that made the nights feel unnaturally thick. No dogs barking, no cars passing by, not even the distant echo of a neighbor's TV. It felt like the whole area held its breath after midnight, waiting for something. That night, I was sitting at my desk, trying to finish a report. It was 2:37 a.m. The bluish glow of my laptop cast a sickly light across the room, making the walls look colder than they were. The fan hummed behind me in a steady rhythm. Then it stopped. Not gradually, not like it lost power. It just cut out. The lights flickered once and died too. A soft click sounded from the corner of the room, near the wardrobe. I turned around, squinting into the dark. The room wasn't big, but suddenly that corner seemed deeper, like the wall had stretched back a few extra inches. I told myself I imagined it. Then I realized I hadn't. As my eyes adjusted, a shape formed in the darkness. A figure. Tall. Too tall. Its head nearly brushed the low ceiling. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. I blinked. It was gone. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The beam hit the corner. Nothing there. The wardrobe looked normal. The wall looked normal. But the feeling of being watched didn't go away. It grew heavier. I tried turning my laptop back on. It was off. I hadn't shut it down. A cold sensation crawled up my spine, not from the air, but from something else, something pressing against the space around me. I felt like the room itself was tightening, squeezing the warmth out of my skin. I decided to step out and check the breaker. I opened the door to the hallway. The short corridor led to the front door, but the far end was darker than usual. My flashlight couldn't cut through it. The light seemed to get swallowed whole. Inside that thick darkness stood a figure, the same height, the same stillness, facing me. I squeezed my phone until my knuckles turned white. Is someone there? No response. The figure tilted its head slightly, as if listening. I swear it tilted. I blinked. The sound that followed came fast. Thud, 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 thud. Long footsteps. Too long, like the legs were twice the length they should be, moving toward me at an unnatural pace. I jerked the flashlight up. The hallway was gone. No figure, no darkness, just my tiny room again, perfectly still. My breath trembled in my chest. I didn't know if I was losing my mind. I turned back toward my desk, ready to sit down and convince myself it was sleep deprivation. That's when I saw the mirror on the vanity. My reflection was there, but behind me, in the far corner of the room, someone was standing. I spun around. Nothing. I looked back at the mirror. The figure was closer now. So close it looked like it was standing right behind me, its presence pressing against the back of my neck. My phone slipped from my hand. It hit the floor and the screen went black. The darkness swallowed the entire room. And then I heard breathing. It wasn't mine. The breathing grew louder in the dark, slow and deliberate, as if someone was standing inches from my ear. I froze. My chest tightened, and every instinct in my body screamed for me not to move. I could feel the warm air brushing my skin, impossibly close. I forced myself to whisper, "Hello?" Nothing replied. The breathing simply stopped, which felt even worse. Silence flooded back in, thick and suffocating. I crouched, fumbling blindly for my phone on the floor. My fingers brushed its cold surface. I grabbed it and pressed the power button. The screen stayed black. It was as if the battery had been drained dry in a second. A faint sound echoed through the room. At first it resembled distant static, like an old TV left on in another house. Then the pitch shifted. It sharpened, stretched, and began to sound disturbingly close to a voice. Not a human voice, but something attempting to mimic one, like a person trying to speak through water. It whispered from the darkness behind me, "Do you hear it?" My heart slammed in my chest so hard I nearly dropped the phone again. I tried to stand, but my legs refused to move, as if the air around me had thickened into something physical. I swallowed hard and forced myself upright. I could just barely make out the shape of the room in the faint moonlight seeping through the curtain. The wardrobe, the desk, the mirror on the vanity. The edges of everything felt slightly distorted, like I was looking at the world through warped glass. I took a shaky step backward. My heel hit the leg of the chair and nearly sent me stumbling. As I steadied myself, something moved in the corner of the room. Not a full figure, not yet. Just a ripple in the dark, like a shadow stretching itself awake. I backed toward the door. My hand reached behind me to find the doorknob. My fingers brushed the wood. I felt around, searching for cold metal. There was no doorknob. I turned fully and stared. The door was there, but the knob was gone. The wood was smooth and seamless, like it had never been attached. My breath caught in my throat. No, that isn't real. That isn't possible. I pressed my palms against the door. It wouldn't budge. The frame felt warm under my touch, almost like skin. I stumbled backward, panic rising like bile in my throat. A soft, creaking sound came from behind me. I turned around slowly. The mirror. My reflection was there, but something was wrong with it. The room behind my reflected self looked stretched. The walls bent inward slightly, curving toward the mirror, like the mirror was sucking the room in. And my reflection wasn't standing the way I was. I was facing the mirror, but my reflection was angled just a little to the left, as if it were trying to show me something standing beside me. I didn't want to look. My entire body rebelled against the idea, but my eyes moved on their own. There was nothing beside me. I exhaled shakily and looked back at the mirror. The reflection began to blur. My face elongated slightly, as if someone were pulling it like taffy. My eyes stretched downward, hollowing out. My shoulders looked wrong, too narrow and too long at the same time. A low hum filled the room, vibrating in my bones. The mirror trembled. The air around it rippled, distorting everything like a heat haze. Behind my distorted reflection, another figure started to appear. Tall, thin, featureless. Its head brushed the top of the mirror frame. No eyes, no mouth, no face at all. Just a long, white, smooth surface where a face should be. I staggered away from the mirror, my legs barely functioning. The hum grew louder. The room dimmed even more, as if the darkness were feeding off the sound. I felt a pressure in my skull, a deep, drilling tension building behind my eyes. My vision wavered. Stop. Please stop. The hum abruptly cut off. Silence returned. Then I heard something new. Footsteps. Slow, heavy, dragging across the floor. I spun around. Nothing there. The sound came again, but this time from the wardrobe. The doors of the wardrobe shuddered. My breath stuck in my chest as the left door creaked open a few inches. The darkness inside the wardrobe seemed impossibly deep, deeper than the furniture's actual size. I took one step back. Something shifted inside. A hand emerged from the darkness, long, pale, too many joints. The fingers stretched out like roots growing toward me. I gasped and stumbled backward until my back slammed into the door. Pain shot through my shoulders. The hand grasped the edge of the wardrobe door and pulled itself out further. An arm extended, impossibly long, bending in ways human arms were never meant to. I couldn't breathe. A second arm came out, followed by a torso, unnaturally thin, compressing and sliding out as if bones weren't real. The head emerged last, smooth, blank, tilting slightly as if studying me without eyes. My nails dug into the door behind me as adrenaline surged through my veins. I reached blindly for the knob again, hoping, praying it had returned. The figure stepped out of the wardrobe, its legs unfolded like they were made of wet cloth, stretching until the creature stood far too tall for the small room. Its faceless head lowered toward me. I squeezed my eyes shut. The air moved. Something brushed my cheek. A cold, gentle touch, like a fingertip dragging across my skin. A whisper slid into my ear. "You are not alone anymore." The voice slipped into my ear like a needle sinking under skin. "You are not alone anymore." Every hair on my body stood on end. I opened my eyes slowly, terrified of what I might see. The creature stood inches away from me, towering over my curled-up form. Its faceless head loomed so close I could see faint lines shifting under the smooth surface, like something trying to form features but failing. It tilted its head again, the movement too fluid, too soft. My heartbeat hammered against my ribs as if trying to escape. The creature reached toward me once more. Its fingers stretched longer than they had before, unfolding like tendrils searching for something beneath my skin. I pressed myself against the door so hard the wood creaked beneath my weight. "Stop. Please stop." A sudden flash of white light burst in the center of the room, so bright it scorched my vision. I shielded my face with my arms. The creature froze. The light flickered once, twice, and vanished just as quickly as it appeared. When my eyes adjusted again, the creature was no longer in front of me. It was standing in the middle of the room, its limbs drawn close to its body, as if the light had forced it to retreat. But the worst part wasn't that it had moved. The worst part was that the room wasn't the same anymore. The walls were closer. Not a trick of the light, not an illusion. They were physically closer, squeezing inward like the whole room was inhaling. My lungs tightened. I blinked rapidly, trying to steady my vision, but every time my eyes opened, the walls seemed to inch closer again. The ceiling lowered by an inch. The floor rippled beneath my feet like a slow wave. The creature lifted its head toward me, and I felt something shift inside my skull. A distant ringing filled my ears, slowly warping into whispers layered over each other. They sounded like my own voice, but distorted, like recordings played backward. I stumbled away from the door, desperate to escape the suffocating pressure. As I moved, the entire room bent around me, stretching and pulling like warm plastic. The wardrobe seemed further away than it should be. The mirror seemed closer. I looked at the mirror. My reflection stared back, but it wasn't right. The reflection's eyes were too large, too wide, hollowed out as if someone had scooped the life out of them. Its mouth stretched in a thin, unnatural line, carved across a face that wasn't fully mine anymore. I stepped closer involuntarily, as if something were pulling me in. The reflection blinked. I didn't. A cold rush of air punched through my chest. I tried to step back, but the floor shifted under me, turning soft and uneven like wet sand. I sank an inch, then another. Panic shot through me as I clawed for balance. The room pulsed again, breathing in slow, heavy waves. From somewhere behind me, the creature's limbs scraped against the floor, dragging forward. My reflection mouthed something. No sound came out. I leaned closer to the mirror, horrified and unable to stop myself. 3 words formed on its elongated lips. "He sees you." A violent ripple tore through the room. The mirror cracked. A thick fissure ran across the glass, splitting my reflection in half. The lights flickered, even though the power had supposedly gone out long ago. I turned toward the creature. It was closer again, 10 feet away, then 7, then 5. Each time I blinked, it appeared nearer, like my eyelids were teleporting it forward. The ringing in my ears sharpened. The whispers grew clearer. They started speaking over one another, dozens of my own voices echoing the same phrase. "Don't look away. Don't look away. Don't look away." I squeezed my hands over my ears. "Stop!" The creature paused. For a moment, the room went silent. Then the floor beneath me split open. A thin crack tore across the tiles, widening with a metallic groan. Darkness seeped out from the gap, rising like smoke. My legs buckled and I almost fell into it before catching myself on the vanity. The crack widened, the tiles tilted downward. Everything around me slanted toward the opening, like gravity had changed direction. The creature's limbs dangled toward the split, its head tilting once more, as if studying the abyss forming beneath us. A second crack erupted in the ceiling. Dust rained down. The walls pressed even closer. I could barely breathe. I crawled toward the corner of the room, desperate to find space where the walls hadn't yet collapsed inward. But the corner itself seemed to stretch away, elongating like a corridor that kept receding the closer I got. The whispers surged again, overlapping, crowding, pounding against the inside of my skull. I heard a voice that wasn't mine this time. It was deep, resonant, vibrating the air itself. Do not resist. The creature stepped over the widening crack, its long legs moving with unnatural ease, its faceless head angled toward me. It reached out, and the darkness beneath its feet pulsed in response, like the room itself was helping it. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My throat felt stitched shut. In a final burst of desperation, I pushed off the vanity and lunged toward the window. If I could break it, if I could get out, if I could just breathe air that wasn't being strangled by this thing. The window wasn't a window anymore. There was no glass, just a flattened, painted surface, like someone had smeared the idea of a window onto the wall without understanding how windows worked. I struck it anyway, slamming my fist into the fake pane. The paint rippled under my touch like a thin curtain of water, then solidified again. Behind me, the creature's steps grew louder, faster. Thud, thud, thud. I pressed my forehead against the cold painted surface, tears burning in my eyes. Please, I whispered, I don't want this. The whispers in my head stopped instantly. A single voice answered, soft and calm. You already chose. The creature's hand closed around my shoulder. The room exhaled. Everything went dark.